Welcome to Cut the Crop, keeping you in the know about everything you grow. Researchers, growers and other interesting folk delivering insights and information on topics ranging from agronomy to profitability. Brought to you by the Foundation for Arable Research.
Hello and welcome. My name's Alison Stewart and I'm your host for this session of Cut the Crop. And today we've got David Birkett with us. Hello, David.
Hi, Alison.
Yeah, welcome. So David is part of a very successful catchment group called Ellesmere Sustainable Agriculture, based in the Selwyn district. And we thought it would be a really good idea in this session to just talk about the catchment group and what it is and what the activities are that they get involved in. So David, tell us a little bit about, what area does it cover and who are the farmers, etc., that have signed up, and what are your key activities?
Yeah, thanks, Alison. Ellesmere is an area about 30 minutes south of Christchurch, and our area covers between the Rakaia River north to the Selwyn River, and from the main road down to the coast. And in that area is also Lake Ellesmere. At the bottom of our catchment is Lake Ellesmere, and obviously one of the boundaries is the Selwyn River. So both Lake Ellesmere and the Selwyn River are often in the news for all the wrong reasons, for their degraded state and often lack of water in the river. So I guess one of the reasons we initially set up was the fact that there was a lot of pressure on farmers, and one of the key drivers around it was around irrigation consents or water take consents at the time. So in 2001, a Southbridge Water Users Group was set up. And that was really because Environment Canterbury, or actually Canterbury Regional Council at that time, were looking at our irrigation consents, and they were looking to review them. So we realised that, as farmers, as a group, we were more powerful, and we needed to set up some sort of structure so that we could operate and negotiate and work with ECAN around this review that was going to be happening in the future.
So that was just like a group of 4 or 5 growers that just started it up, and then more came on board with time?
Yes, there was about 4 farmers originally started, and they could see what was going to happen. But it didn't take very long, and some of those early meetings in the early 2000s, we were filling the halls and rugby club rooms where we were having the meetings. And what we did, we actually got people like the regional council's chair and councillors to those meetings, so they could see what farmers' concerns were and just how many farmers we were representing, which helped to give us that little bit of power when we did negotiate with ECAN.
So these are not just arable farmers; these were any farmers in the region.
Originally, it was any farmer with an irrigation consent in our zone. And as time's gone on, that's changed. So we were a Southbridge Water Users Group, and then in 2009, we incorporated into an incorporated society called the Ellesmere Irrigation Society. Mm-hmm. And it was really around the irrigation issues at that point in time, and the makeup of those farming types was the bulk are actually arable in our area, just by land use and soil type. But we also have dairy, we have vegetable production, we have organics, we have mixed sheep and beef as well. So we have quite a wide range of land uses within the zone, but probably the more than 50% would be arable farms.
So it started off very much with an irrigation focus, but obviously over time, you've then got involved in a whole range of other activities, because I'm guessing that it's a whole range of things to do with soil and environment and you name it.
Yeah. As regulations have come along, I guess we've adapted to the regulations. So in 2015, we actually changed our name again to the Ellesmere Sustainable Agriculture Incorporated. So that really reflects more of what we do now. We don't just deal with water issues, we deal with all the environmental issues and the regulations which we see in front of us.
So how many people are there in the catchment group? I mean, do you have a membership and people people have to sign up and be vetted, or is it just a free-for-all?
No, we do have some restrictions on who can be members. We've certain area, farm size. So, we are here to support farmers. So that's what we want to do. We do have a membership. For a number of years, it's sat at $50 and it's $200 now, which is incredible value for money when you see what results we actually get.
So how many members?
We have got just over 100 members. We had about 130, but just through retirement and farm amalgamations, it's about 100. But we are going to canvass the ones which aren't members as part of one of our projects.
So if you're a member, what happens? You go along to monthly meetings, or sort of what is the activity that you get involved in if you're a member?
For us, a lot of the activity is actually behind the scenes. A lot of the really good work we do is around submissions. A lot of regional council policy and district council policy. We have a planner in our group who does those submissions for us. And farmers, you don't probably see directly the results of that on farm, but it certainly makes life for farmers a lot easier when we have a voice at the table. And we've now being notified on all our district council plans as an interested party on all consents that come through. So we're one of few who actually have that status with the council now.
And so the membership fee basically covers the cost of, paying for people to come in and provide, expertise or make the submissions?
It does at the moment, but when we have a large project, such as when we were doing our water consent reviews, we decided that a number of us needed to appeal the decisions back to the Environment Court. So we collectively agreed that we would work together, and we funded that simply by invoicing the members involved. I think there was about 30 members who were involved in that appeal. We spent something like $40,000 and got some really good results and conditions for our consents out of it. So that was only a bit over $1,000 per person or per farm. And I know of one farmer who wasn't part of our group who did the same and went and appealed and got worse conditions and cost themselves $40,000.
Yeah.
So you can see the power of a group and collectively working together to bring those costs down.
And so obviously you have a president or a chairperson of the group, and
yes. We have we've had a couple of chair people. Simon Osmond was our first one, and Tim Chamberlain is our current chair, who's an organic farmer. So we have quite a wide range of people on our committee, from principals to farmers, and a wide range of land uses as well. So we're lucky that we have good skills on our committee. But I think when you look in all communities, I think you'll be surprised just what skills are out there in your own communities. Whether it's husbands, wives, partners, or even children who are educated and have some skills, those skills can always be utilised by groups like this.
So you've been up and running, obviously, for nearly 20 years. And so, what would you say would be the biggest challenges that you've had in being able to sort of keep the catchment group together and making it successful?
I don't think there's any one big one. There's just multiple challenges coming to us all the time. Yeah. And I guess the big one's the regulations that keep coming at us. And we're trying to front foot it and trying to take some of that pressure off farmers so that, we can do some work behind the scenes so that farmers don't have to directly deal with some of these regulations directly. They can leave it to the catchment group to put submissions in and voice the opinion of farmers so that we hopefully get workable regulations through that submission process.
And are you doing like education and awareness activities with the growers? Like when you understand what new regulations there are coming through, are you then explaining that to the rest of the growers?
Yes, depends. So like with farm environment plans, which came into our zone a number of years ago, we approached FAR and did a workshop in conjunction with FAR to do the farm environment plans for arable farmers. So we'll work with organisations and bring people in and run workshops or field days to help the farmers get through that phase.
So these issues that you're dealing with, I mean, they're quite contentious issues. Presumably not everyone in your group agrees on, the position that should be taken. So how do you manage, pulling together a submission when you might have diverse views amongst your catchment group?
I think you'll probably find while there's diverse views, overall most farmers actually believe the same thing, and that's that they want to farm in a way which is sustainable. They want to leave the environment in a good place. So we actually haven't had that problem, to be honest. Although with our planting project, there were some pretty staunch people in our group and said that planting is not something they'd ever do on their farm. And within 2 years, they've got plantings on their farm. So
these are biodiversity plantings.
Biodiversity plantings and riparian plantings. So, even some of those really staunch people who you wouldn't think would ever change quite often do change when they see some of the benefits.
Yeah. So tell me about this project Tinaku.
Yeah, we were previously talking with MPI around an extension project for our groundwater. So obviously groundwater quality in our zone is a problem. Mm-hmm. And then COVID came along and MPI said to us, well, would you like to do a Jobs for Nature application? So we did that, and within a week we had funding, which was very quick. As you well know, it's normally a long process.
Well, normally, but if you're in the right place at the right time, honestly, the money just gets put on the table. Yeah. So
and I guess we're an organised group, so we got the applications in pretty quickly. So that ended up being 2.2 million over 3 years for largely riparian planting, mm-hmm. and that has been quite amazing. I'm amazed at how that's gone. We've employed a project manager and a design manager for all the sites. We've planted around 36,000 plants and about 9.9 kilometres of riparian planting in the first 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And we've also got the schools involved. We get gateway students out from the schools involved in these projects as well. There's also side benefits. One of the companies that does the work and provides the plants, if we spend X amount with them, they have agreed to put on a apprentice into their program, which they've done.
Yeah.
So, I think there's some huge benefits. And
so
also
that riparian planting, was it planted in a way that it might be able to be eligible for sequestration offsets?
They're not really trees. They're more shrubs,
okay.
And so probably not. That wasn't one of the things at the forefront of our mind. The carbon thing was probably a little bit further down the track.
Yeah, but obviously, if another group were thinking of doing something similar, that's a key component they have to think about now.
Yes, I think now, look, if we can get something that captures even more carbon in these areas, then why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we go down that track?
So do you think that there are actually a lot of areas on an arable farm where there is an opportunity to do more biodiversity planting than perhaps the industry has been doing so far?
I think it depends farm to farm. A lot of the farms in our area, we have a lot of lowland streams which flow through our farms. So ideally, that's an ideal place for riparian planting.
Yeah.
If you get into the mid-Canterbury environment where it's flat and no streams or rivers at all, then it is a little bit more challenging. But there's some really good examples out there of plantings around water storage ponds, corners of pivots and paddocks. I think there are more opportunities, but we also have to be mindful that with plantings become the challenge of birds.
Yes, that's right.
So, you have to weigh that balance up as well.
Yeah. So what other sort of things have you got on the radar at the moment?
When about a year into the project, MPI we got our funding for our original project, an extension project, which was based on water quality. Mm-hmm. So we've got that, and that's been going just nearly a year now. And we're looking at trying to understand what the water quality issues are in our area and what's causing them. And we are looking to work with Central Plains Water, which is the water scheme above us. And so we understand what's happening across our whole catchment, not just in the bottom end. And we're also looking at the feasibility of reopening one of our lowland streams back out to sea or into the Rakaia River.
Yeah.
At the moment, the culverts are all blocked because of poor maintenance. So we're looking at that.
So do you get good community buy-in to all of this? You know, as in people who are not farmers. I mean, do they recognise what the farming community are trying to do?
I think that's one of the big outcomes we're going to have from these two projects is the fact that people can see what farmers are doing. We can publicly put articles out there and video footage and so forth of what farmers are doing, and so they can understand just what lengths farmers do go to, because at the moment I don't think that is recognised. And part of that extension program is the other part is training. So we're trying to help farmers. So we've run a number of courses. We've run first aid courses, chainsaw courses, Growsafe and approved handler courses, which most farmers in Arable need. And we're just about to run a financial and succession planning session as well. So they're all sort of services that we can provide for farmers and do it through the MPI extension.
So are there other farmers from other regions who have contacted you asking you how perhaps they might be able to set up a similar type of catchment group?
Yes, there are. I've actually got a meeting next week with farmers just on the north side of our zone looking to set up a group similar to ours. They've seen what we've done and can recognise the value that's in it. And Irrigation New Zealand actually approached us when we were an irrigation society, and I think they actually produced a booklet of the processes to go through of setting up a catchment group. And it seems like an onerous task to go through, but once you actually have a look, and it's not too bad. There's plenty of constitutions out there that you can cut and paste and set up.
And I guess one of the biggest benefits is just actually getting the farmers together and being able to just talk about these issues and air concerns and share ideas and provide support.
Exactly. I think one of the most powerful things is farmers talking to farmers. I'm very firm in my belief on that. And farmers trust farmers, so if they see other farmers doing something, they'll say, well, actually, that might work, rather than potentially someone who's non-farming telling them how to farm or what to do. Yeah. So I think farmers demonstrating to other farmers is a very powerful tool. And I guess that's what our group is doing, is we're trying to demonstrate to farmers and support them so that when they do have these challenging regulations or whatever it is put in front of them in the future, that they have a vehicle which they can go to and we can help them through those times.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a really productive sort of catchment group. So if there are listeners out there and they're interested in knowing more, are you happy to have a chat to people and talk about, sort of some ideas and give them some hints about how to start the ball rolling in their region? Yeah, no, more than happy to do that. The big benefits is that you can get some power. Like Environment Canterbury, instead of talking to 100 different farmers, they talk to one group. Yeah, and they really appreciate that. They it cuts down the workload for them, and you get better outcomes because you're representing a large group of farmers. So, yeah, more than happy to talk through some of the processes we've had to go through and how to set up a catchment group. Excellent. Thank you very much, David. And thank you very much, listeners. Have a great day on the farm.
Thanks for tuning in to Cut the Crop, presented to you by FAR. If you'd like to know more about any of the topics discussed or have any suggestions for future topics, go to www.cutthecrop.co.nz.